I like lighting things on fire. It's good times.
Do you?
Oh, yes, fireworks.
Tell me about that, Matt.
Well, yes, we mentioned in our last episode, I was talking about fireworks, because 4th of July is like one of my favorite holidays, and I love lighting off fireworks. So.
The podcast you are about to listen to is an account of the movies which befell a group of horror fans. In particular, Tara Garwood and her intrepid friend, Matt Lolich. Had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, although they would have wished, to see as much of the mad and macabre as we are to see in those movies. For them, an idyllic summer movie became a nightmare, and they loved it. The movies that they watched were to lead to the creation of one of the most terrifying podcasts in the annals of American history. The Scary Movie Project.
Hey peeps, this is the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies and celebrate all things Halloween with our spoilery spoilers. I'm Tara.
And that makes me, by default, Matt. One night, one town, 10 chilling stories. 10 stories are woven together by their shared theme of Halloween night in an American suburb, where ghouls, imps, aliens, and axe murderers appear for one night only to terrorize unsuspecting residents. As we discuss the anthology film Tales of Halloween tonight, and I'll make a note, I'm live tonight from wonderful Outer Banks in North Carolina, and I was going to make a mention, famous movies in every state. I'm in North Carolina. I'll give you 2. I Know What You Did Last Summer and Cape Fear. How about that? Boom.
Oh, those are both good. Well,
Cape Fear's
they're
not
good
necessarily
ones
horror.
to name.
Yeah.
And we've got one of the actors from Tales of Halloween with us tonight, Christoph Zajac-Denek. He is joining us, and he is an actor. He is the host of the I'm Kind of a Big Deal podcast, a drummer, a journalist, a little person, and an activist. And he is here with us to talk about his work on Tales of Halloween and some of his other things that he's done. So hi, Christoph.
Yes, thank you for being
Tara
here.
and Matt. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so stoked to be on the show. This is really rad.
Yeah, we're super excited to talk to you. I really enjoyed this film. It was so fun. So really quickly, I'm going to go through, just give everybody an idea of what happens in each of the 10 little pieces, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about yours a little more.
Cool.
And some other things as well. So Tales of Halloween is an anthology film that takes place in a town where Adrian Barbeau is the radio announcer.
That's right, just like in The Fog.
Mm-hmm, and strange things happen on Halloween.
I love The Fog, by the way. Isn't that a great movie? I'm sorry.
That is a great movie, too. Yeah, we have to do that at some point. Yes. We say that so much on this
We
podcast. We're like, we have to do that one. And I put it on my list of like 100 movies that we already know we have to do.
Does that list ever move, by the way? Like I made a list of movies and it just kind of stayed there. Like I would watch a couple off of the list.
We've done some of them, I guess.
We've definitely done them.
Yeah.
But every time we pull one off, it seems like 3 more go on.
Yeah.
So it just keeps growing. It's really long.
That's kind of the way it is. Yeah.
It's a really long list. So the first little short is called Sweet Tooth. It's about a boy who loves candy a little bit too much. The second one, the one that Christoph is in, is called The Night Billy Raised Hell. It's about a boy's first Halloween prank. And the third one, Trick, is about a group of young adults being hunted down and killed off one by one by a group of trick-or-treaters. The Weak and the Wicked is a Western-style supernatural revenge story. The Grim Grinning Ghost, take that alliteration, I said it, is a ghost story told in jest that turns out to be all too real. Ding Dong, a childless couple gives out candy on Halloween and it does not go well. And in This Means War, a neighborly dispute over Halloween displays goes a bit too far. Friday the 31st is a good old-fashioned horror movie slasher plagued by an alien. And let's see, The Ransom of Rusty Rex. 2 kidnappers get more than they bargained for. And The Bad Seed is about a jack-o'-lantern on a killing spree and the cops trying to solve the case. So that's the basic, like, each of the 10 things. So we're going to leave you to watch them. They're really fun. But I want to ask you, Christoph, first to just tell us what it was like working on Tales of Halloween, and like what were some highlights for you?
That show was really, really fun. I think it was the first job that a new manager that I had signed on with got me, and it was kind of a lower budget film, but I was just really excited to do it and to get involved. Darren Bousman, has directed a number of the Saw movies, and to work with him was really cool. And I didn't really know that Barry Bostwick was going to be on, and I definitely didn't know that Adrian Curry was going to be on either. And so not only did I get to play this really devilish, crazy, kind of like rambunctious childlike creature, I got to be in the makeup chair for probably the longest makeup job I've ever done in my life, where they put an entire face over my face, and then I'm bald, so they attached, I think it was 2 sets of horns to my head. I think they put ears on me, and then they gave me prosthetic teeth, and they just made me look disgusting and terrible.
Wonderful.
And yeah, exactly. And it was really fun to do all that and to have that on my resume, because I was kind of newly, chipping away at shows and stuff, and I hadn't really done anything like that before. And I think there were 4 makeup artists working on me for 3.5 hours in the chair. So
I was going to ask how long it took. That's a lot.
The crazy thing is, you really only see that demon face when I take the mask off. And so the makeup only worked for about 2 hours.
It's right.
And then my face was cleared off, and I was just wearing the mask for the rest of the shoot. But I really wanted to keep that on, and because I know how hard special effects and makeup folks work, and they did a really, really good job with my face. So I wanted to have a little bit of fun in between shots and after lunch, and so lunch was probably 10:30 p.m. And we were shooting in Studio City, and I was hiding behind cars that were just parked on the street and jumping out in front of cars that were driving, because I was like, I just want to have some fun with this. I think it'd be crazy. And
why not?
Yeah, and I mean, everybody could see that there was something going on, because there were production trucks and there was security and everything happening. And I jumped out at a security agent, and they were scared for a second, which was really fun too.
I hope you got some sort of pictures of that.
I don't have any pictures of me jumping out, but I got pictures of the makeup.
Yeah.
And those
It was so great.
It was really great. And I actually use those as promos for my they're on my acting profiles for casting agents and stuff like that, to show
nice.
I can do all these prosthetics. But I mean, on top of all that, shooting the show was a ton of fun. I mean, Barry Bostwick was amazing. He was such a nice guy, and funny and sweet, and he was hilarious to work with, and we had some really great conversations. And to be truthful, I mean, we just talked about this, a couple minutes before starting recording. I didn't know who he was before I recorded before I worked with him, and then I went back and Googled him, and I was like, damn, he's done a lot of amazing stuff. This is really cool. I think I worked 2 days with him, so the next day I was like, oh, hey, Barry, what's up?
Yeah, then you're all like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. Oh, hi. Hello.
Kind of better not knowing who it is. Yeah, you're not intimidated by any way.
Definitely.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how you could be intimidated with him around, because he's just such a sweet soul. He's just a really beautiful person, and easy to work with, and just a blast. And then Adrian Curry was on. She was on for I only saw her for probably 20 minutes. Like they shot her and she was gone. I think they did shoot it around Halloween. So I think she had another event or party that she was going to. I have no clue, but she was very, very sweet as well. You know, when you watch the movie, you'll see that she was in it for just a quick,
really quick. Yeah. Little cameo.
Little cameo. And, and I did get to do some, like impaired vision driving around Studio City at 3:30 in the morning with the mask on, and Barry Bostwick in the back, like throwing his chicken, his Kentucky Fried Chicken around the back seat of this BMW, which was really fun too. Yeah, so I had a blast. It was great. It was a really fun shoot, and Darren was, I mean, you know, save the best for last. Darren was incredible to work with as well.
Yeah.
Just such a creative guy, and I ended up doing a couple other things with him along the way. He had an immersive experience that he wrote and produced and released, and so I was just a part of a couple of scenes for that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was this thing in LA that I guess a lot of the name of it escapes me at the moment, but it was this online following, and everyone like from all over the place knew about you know, his followers, his fans were just really into this thing that he's started, and I was like one of the players or one of the gatekeepers, and so yeah, he set all these things up, and it was really cool to do. I ended up like yelling at somebody in a restaurant for some reason about pancakes or something like that. It's crazy.
Oh, that sounds pretty wild too.
Yeah, so working with Darren, you know, it's such a creative guy, such a you know, a unique individual. He's awesome.
That's
very good.
So you said you shot like what, 2 days?
I think it was just, it was really quick. I mean, they had everything planned out. They were relatively long days, but for the majority, for 90% of the scenes, I'm in a mask, so there's no makeup to do. It's just pop the mask on and do it. And then the one day where, you know, they did make me up, I was, you know, sitting for a really long time, and then just shot that out, got cleaned up, back in the mask. Let's do it. Right. But yeah, I think it was only 2 days. It was a ton of fun. It was great.
And I figured that was you doing all of the pranks along the way.
Yeah, it was me for sure. I was lighting things on fire. I was
going to ask that. Did you really light those Long Ghosts on fire for real?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to get paid to light things on fire, man. Being like my dream come true.
Like Tropic Thunder, where he gets to do all the explosions. I'm going to make Mother Nature piss her pantsuit.
I'm telling you, man. That's where it's at.
Yeah, it was, I mean, there was safety and meetings and stuff like that, and they were all...
Safety.
You know, yeah, exactly. But yeah, they put some lighter fluid on there, and I was lighting the stuff on the heads on fire. So.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
I like lighting things on fire. It's good times.
Do you?
Oh yes, fireworks.
Tell me about that, Matt.
Well, yes, we mentioned in our last episode. I was talking about fireworks because 4th of July is like one of my favorite holidays, and I love lighting off fireworks. So.
Nice.
And it is not one of my favorite because our dogs get very upset by the neighbors who light off fireworks. So. Yeah,
my friends' dogs do not like fireworks whatsoever, and I guess they're still going off in LA. It's in September. Yeah.
Ours get really upset.
Yeah.
It's sad, but
you
anyways.
have to cuddle them even more.
Right. Thunder shirt.
Yeah.
So did you get to meet anybody from any of the other 10 shorts, or were they all like completely done separately?
They were completely done separately. That's
what I thought.
When I got hired, I knew it was, you know, a number of shorts, vignettes, and that's really all I knew until it came out. And then I watched it. I think I watched it a couple times because it was really entertaining. But
it really is.
Yeah, it really is. But I didn't know anyone else. You know, or any.
Yeah, that all production. Yeah, I think that was all.
Ones.
It was all separate stuff.
Yeah, I figured it might have been, but I thought, well, maybe they like cross paths in the trailer, if it was near each other. But
No,
Because I know we were talking about Grinning Ghost has a lot of well-known people in it too. Mm-hmm. I know Lin Shaye from Insidious. Matt, who else?
Yeah, so that is like the who's who. So it's Lin Shaye telling the story. It's Stuart Gordon, who directed Reanimator. It's Mick Garris, I think, who has done a bunch of horror films. It's Barbara Crampton, who was like an 80s scream queen. I think that's your list, but that's like that was a big deal for me watching that. Was seeing all those faces was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun one too. Trying to think if I think those were my two favorite ones, to be honest.
I like the last
I'm
one.
looking
with the
back through my list.
The last one with the pumpkin was good. Because I like Christina Klebe from Halloween, and I like Adam Green because I like Adam Green's movies. They're fantastic.
Well, yeah. I guess Ding Dong was interesting. The childless couple that gives out candy and she keeps turning into the witch with Hansel and Gretel, and that was kind of.
What is that actress's name? Because where do I know her from?
I don't know.
I'm totally blanking on that because I'll have to look that up because she's so familiar and I can't place where she's from. Yeah, that one was kind of weird, but it was good. I like the one with the first one with the candy though, and the babysitter and her boyfriend.
That was my other favorite as well.
That was a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
And I like the intro.
That was a good one too.
I like the opening sequence, coming through and showing all the overhead of the town and everything. And for me, it was one of those movies. Like I think that if you don't like scary, you would like to watch this because it would be it's a perfect movie to watch on Halloween, just because like it's Halloween. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like you're saying, it's not too scary if you're not into really scary movies.
No, I don't think so. Right, exactly.
It's just scary enough that you get a little thrill.
It's perfect. It's perfect to watch.
Scary.
That was the one they had like the. I hope I'm not confusing any, but that was the one where they had like they were gutted, right? Like they had like their guts out. Was that the one?
Was that the one with the adults where they have the pool in the backyard and the kids come trick or treating and they kill everybody?
Oh,
is that the one?
yeah.
Right.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
Somebody has their eye out, I think, in it.
Yeah, there were definitely some violent scenes in a lot of it. I will
okay,
definitely
so
say
there's
that.
a little bit of scariness in it.
No, it's not like it's a cartoon. I mean, it definitely has scary moments. Of course it does. Yeah, but it's one of those good. I think it reminds me of that movie Trick or Treat a little bit. I think if you guys have seen that.
Yep.
It kind of gives me that vibe. But yeah, it's that cool like scary stories kind of thing that is good to watch. Like if you're just someone who casually enjoys Halloween, that'd be a good movie to watch on that day. That'd be perfect, I think.
Yeah, and I would say if you like the Trick or Treat style anthology, you're probably going to enjoy this. Like it's got a very similar like horror light a little bit sort of thing to it. Which I really enjoyed.
I'd heard about the movie for years, but I'd never seen it either, so it was good to watch it. Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to find this woman who I know was perfect. But keep going. Sorry, I'm going to look this up.
Matt always looks. Okay, so is there anything else, any other experience you want to talk about from the movie that you want to tell us about? Any of the other cool pranks you played that were fun?
I think that was it. I mean, this shot it was either 2014 or 2015. So that was a while ago. And my memory is not always so good. So there's a lot that's happened since then. I mean, I just really loved working with Barry. I think he was just such a fun individual, and he's been on so many shows that it was an honor to work with him.
You got a good cast and a good director to work with for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the woman Pollyanna McIntosh is her name. Mm-hmm. And I recognize her because she's in The Walking Dead. So that's where I know her from.
Oh, there you go. I don't watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what.
Eek! I don't watch The Walking Dead. Sorry.
So I recognize, good cast, good, because anthology stuff, that can be hard to put together. But I think you guys did a good job of that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I had no hand in that at all.
Hey, you played a part.
So tell us tell us. Let's go a little more recent. I think. Tell us about working on Twin Peaks season 3.
Oh, I love Twin Peaks.
Yeah. That's it's the highlight of my career.
I guess.
Oh, I'm sure.
I love that show.
Yeah, it was amazing. I've been a fan of David Lynch for a long time, and when I got booked on Twin Peaks, I didn't know I was getting booked on Twin Peaks. So it was.
Was it like
crazy.
under wraps?
Different name.
Yeah, they used a code name and they wouldn't tell me. Even after I was booked on the show, they're like, "No, we're not telling you."
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's I weaseled my way in there into their hearts, I guess.
It's a good
somehow,
thing.
And yeah, I chipped away with my pick, and they let me in. And I mean, it was just awesome. My first day, I worked with Kyle and Naomi, and I was like, well, why am I here? I don't understand why I'm here.
That's so awesome.
And it was great. I mean, they're the best. They're amazing, and they just make you feel so comfortable. And I had to point a gun at them my first day.
So you were the hitman? Was that? What were you
Ike
playing?
the Spike, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Ike the Spike. That's such a good character name too.
In Vegas, they lived in Vegas. You guys, it's happening in Vegas, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in Vegas at the
Yeah.
time. Well,
So
I was
Matt-
in the story.
So Matt, you've seen season 3?
Oh yeah. That
Okay,
was the
I
one-
haven't seen it yet. We just got it on Blu-ray, so
That was the one.
Nice.
That
I'm
was
excited
that
to look for you.
That was the one that was on. It was on Showtime this time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So I went and ordered Showtime for 3 months just so I could watch Twin Peaks season 3, and then I canceled the subscription, of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, Showtime.
I think
Sorry,
a lot of
Showtime.
people did that actually.
Sorry. Yeah. Hey, you got your money from me. That's what you wanted, right? So yeah. Yeah, it was
definitely.
it was an interesting season. David Lynch, to me, I mean, I think for that show he's a genius, and a lot of his stuff is weird to me. It's hard to kind of decipher, but if it just Twin Peaks alone is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so-
agree. I mean, that season was it was something else, I kind of don't even know how to describe what it was, all that I saw or what that I was a part of.
Yeah.
But it was, that was just beyond incredible to
Heck yeah.
do that. And
Part of
Do
history.
you-
That's amazing.
Do you have any moments from that like stand out?
So I play a really vicious murderer on the show, and
Yes.
I have arguably one of the most gruesome scenes of the show.
Nice.
What was that? I don't
and-
remember what it was.
I end up. Do you want me to spoil it?
That's what we do on the show.
We're all about
Yeah.
spoilers here.
I'm trying to remember what you did. Yeah.
So I end up stabbing. You can see me stabbing a woman to death on screen, and one of the interesting / cool things from that day is that we had to stop in the middle of it for certain production reasons and stuff. And we heard that one of the PAs actually went to the bathroom to throw up after
Nice.
watching playback.
Nice.
That means you did a good job.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
and I had never done that before on anything, and so to get to play this really vicious, crazy, off the rails character,
Yeah.
especially with David Lynch, was such a pleasure for me, and I had so much fun with it. It was great.
It's awesome.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I wanted to ask you too about, I saw on your IMDb, Dead Undead.
Yes.
Zombie.
Do
Do you
know
want
that?
to tell us what that is? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was the very first movie I ever was a part of, and it's pretty incredible actually. So I was working at a community television station in Shelby Township, Michigan, and I met a coworker there, he was involved with this group of about 30 or 40 filmmakers that would just in the Metro Detroit area, and some of them went to school, some of them just worked at it and did it, and they would get together every week at like a Red Robin restaurant and just talk about projects and, you know, sign up or have auditions, whatever. They were just doing it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to put together this horror film, and they wrote the script in, I think it was less than 3 weeks that they wrote the script, and then they borrowed a friend's parents' cabin up north, like 4 hours north of the Metro Detroit area in Michigan, just out in the woods somewhere. And they had 4 directors going at once. They were shooting day for night. So like this production schedule was insane. They had, it was probably 16 hours a day that they were shooting, like during the day and at night. And they would just, you know, in post, they just darkened all of the, you know,
day
all
for
the,
night.
the day for night stuff. They shot it, maybe it was over Labor Day weekend or something like that. So it was a 4-day weekend, 4 directors shooting. Like one actor would like come from one scene and have to go to another and have their makeup completely changed and everything. And it was incredible. And I play this like hillbilly guy that is telling the lore of the Storkalak, like this monster that lives out in the woods. And so they shot it around Labor Day, and then it premiered less than 2 months later.
Oh my gosh.
I think it was the night before Halloween at the Art Theater in Royal Oak. And I mean, it was just so cool because these folks were so organized. They were so devoted. They loved, you know, this project, and they wanted to make this happen. And it was just one of the coolest things because it was just so great. It was so Detroit, you know. Detroit just comes from the bottom up with everything, and that's exactly what this group did. And then they sold distribution in Germany maybe like 3 or 4 years later, and I got a check for like distribution.
Nice.
You know, nobody got paid
Sweet.
for the thing. You know, when they were making it, it's just friends helping out friends. And,
Right.
But it was one of the best experiences because I had a blast. My eyes were open to what is it like to shoot a movie. You know, I was working in, you know, news packages and high school sports and, you know, community happenings in this little township at this cable station. And then we go up north and shoot this film. And then they had to so they shot 90% of it in those 4 days. And then they had to get pickups of just, you know, stuff that didn't need to happen with all of these people together at once. And so they came over to, I was living at my mom's house at the time because I was also playing drums in a rock and roll band that would go on tour.
Yeah, we're going to ask you about that in a minute.
Yeah, cool. And so they came over to my mom's house and at night, probably 11 p.m. at night, and they put all this blood all over my face and shot just singles of me laying in the grass, like fighting. And what happened was they I think it's across my head, like I get an axe or a knife to the head, and so they cut out the shape of my head in this knife, and then they pulled it away from my head, and then reversed the footage so it looks like I got I mean, they were just really, really smart with all the production stuff. And so I remember there was a car that stopped, like seeing this body like flailing around with blood all over its face in my mom's front yard.
All right. Sure, she loved it.
And then they just took off. Like they just left.
So much for being a good Samaritan.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like nobody came to help me. I was wasted. So.
I'm Jennifer James.
I'm Jill Stanley.
We're psychics.
We're sisters.
We are the hosts of the Common Mystics podcast.
If you enjoy creepy stories,
Road trips,
haunted locations,
history,
and mysteries,
then the Common Mystics podcast is for you. Check out our website at commonmystics.net. Find us on Apple Podcasts.
or wherever you're listening to your favorite pods.
But yeah, that show, gave me the first taste of what a production actually is. And I don't think I've ever been on a more organized production ever in my life. I mean, that David Lynch, okay, that's more organized, but I've worked on a lot of shows, and to have that type of work ethic and timing and getting everything done that you need, I think the film is 80 minutes long.
Oh,
so
nice.
to shoot that
That's
much
tight.
and get it done, it's still an amazing feat to me. It was incredible.
So is it anywhere that it can be seen in America?
Ooh, I don't even know. I think I have a copy back in Michigan.
Okay, so it's not like out on streaming or anything.
I'm not sure.
All right.
I don't know.
I looked for it and I didn't see it, so that's why I was asking. I was curious if I missed it.
There's a very good chance that it's not anywhere to be seen.
It's nowhere to be.
So our
nowhere to be
German
seen.
friends, you can probably see it. Dead
Yeah.
Undead, whatever
Dead
it's called in
Undead.
Germany.
Along with everything David Hasselhoff has done, you can also watch this in Germany.
Yes.
Yes.
Dead Undead, the David Hasselhoff years.
Yes, I like it.
Okay, so before you were an actor, you said you were a drummer in a rock band. So tell us about that. Like, what was your band? What kind of rock did you guys play? How long did you do that? What was touring like? Like, tell us a little bit about that, because I just think that's cool. It's nothing to do with horror movies, but I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah. There is a little horror movie like thing that happened in there for a second. But yeah, I was in a rock and roll trio band from Detroit. We were called the Hard Lessons, and it was just this, again, bottom up, like grassroots band that we just worked our butts off like crazy for a lot of years. And we played in the Detroit scene. Detroit had probably still has a really incredible rock scene. There's so many good musicians and bands in Detroit, and they love it. That it's really just this thriving musical hub, and so many great bands were playing around then too. And it's kind of like post White Stripes era Detroit music is where my band was.
Okay.
But yeah, I played drums, and I just always loved music, and that's kind of what I've done most in my life. I've played drums more than pretty much anything else. And yeah, we worked our butts off. We did all our own promotion. We were our own record label, our own booking agent, our own promotions, our own drivers, our own financiers of the van.
That's right. The van.
We did everything, and that was an incredible experience. I had so much fun going on the road. I love to travel, and I love to play music, and there were just 3 of us in the band. And how cool is it that we get to drive around and see the country and meet new people and play music on all these stages. We went to Europe. We did a little
nice
tour in Europe. We did 5 dates across Europe, and then we went to London. I loved it. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I left the band because it was the right time for me to move on, and I came to Los Angeles with the intent of getting in more bands and making a living, as a sideman or joining a band, as a drummer, and getting back out on the road. But Hollywood presented other opportunities, and so
good.
It will do that.
Twin Peaks. Yeah, it will do that. It's a crazy place for that. But The other cool thing is that the story about horror,
The horror moment.
the horror moment. So we were playing. It's now called the Satellite, but it was I just lost the name of the place in my mind. Anyway, it was it's called the Satellite Lounge or the Satellite Bar or something like that now, and we were opening up for the New York Dolls in LA, and Tim Armstrong from Rancid came out to see the New York Dolls, which I wasn't so much of a New York Dolls fan, but I'm a huge Rancid fan. That's the punk rock that I grew up with.
I remember
And
Rancid,
yeah. And so I ended up chatting with Tim, and he told me that he was a huge underground horror movie buff.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, I did this little thing. So I got Tim Armstrong's number, and we texted a little bit. I didn't end up, I don't know, I was just a guy talking about a horror movie at this thing.
That's
I
so
never
wild,
ended up,
though.
connecting
That's
with
great.
him and getting him the copy. But yeah, it was kind of crazy, and it instantly had this rapport with one of my favorite punk rock musicians.
You never know where it's going to lead. That's
just
Yeah.
I know,
Well, this
exactly.
this kind of fandom, I think, will do that.
Sure.
It's a very they love their horror.
Yeah, it's
Horror
dedicated,
fans love
right?
their horror. They
We're
love their
unlike-
people who are in it.
we're unlike any other fans. We're unlike any other
They
fans.
really are, and they'll. I say they. We really
Yeah.
are. We will support smaller films
Yeah.
more, I think, than a lot of other genres. It's a really great group of fans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no doubt.
absolutely.
So that leads me to my next question.
I was going to say I'll just throw one thing.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
It's a cool part. Well, a very good friend of mine I've known almost my whole life. He's a drummer. He's been a drummer since I can remember. When we were kids, he was a drummer. And he's played in bands. He used to live in the Atlanta area. He did play with a band that toured all the time. He's in South Carolina now. But yeah, it was awesome to watch him when he come to town. He'd make his way up to our neck of the woods every once in a while, so it'd be great to go watch him play. But yeah, he was always driving the van, and their van full of gear, and yeah, it was so cool to watch that, that kind of lifestyle. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely very cool.
I don't know that I would go on tour if it was the more comfortable situation than
Right.
it was, than three of us swapping time in the driver's seat and loading all of our stuff in and out and all
goodness,
all the it's just a business, it's not a 40-hour a week business, it's an 80-hour a week business.
It's really interesting.
yeah.
When he came to town once to do a show at a restaurant, I shot a video for him, and I got an inside look at it because I remember meeting up with him when he got to town at 2 p.m. Getting to the place, I checked in with them at the same time they did sound check, so I got audio to my camera from the mixing board. Kind of hung out with them for a bit, and then met up with them when they went live at 9 o'clock. Was there for the whole show, helped them pack up, and I ended up staying up with these guys till 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's just a 12-hour thing with these guys, and I was like, "You all do this every day? Oh my god!"
It burns you out, man.
Oh,
It burns
man,
you.
I was
it
dead.
burns you out so hard. We
was
were
dead.
in.
All live performing arts, I think, are like that,
Oh.
because theater's like that
Yeah.
too. You're just
the
rehearsing all
hang.
day and then performing all night, and
Yeah.
You
the
gotta hang,
adrenaline of the show is awesome, but then you're up and you just think it's 4 a.m. You're just partying, and it's whoa, yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yep. When we were in Europe, we were touring with Motion City Soundtrack and OK Go. And
OK Go. Yeah.
OK Go at the time had the treadmill video and the video that they had made in the garden. And they were just blowing up like crazy, and it was so interesting and such an aha moment for me, especially, to watch the band field all of the business emails. They wouldn't go out during the day and see the cities that they were in because they were just on their computers working, and then played their hour-long set and then back on the computers. They were so busy. They were so busy that they told me there was a stretch of time. There was a stretch of 10 days where they had 14 flights in 10 days.
Oh my gosh.
I did 8 flights in 6 days once, but that's not that. Yeah, wow. Okay. Ooh, that's crazy.
It was
That's
just insane.
wild.
And you know, we were a band that was working to that. Like we were like, we want to get to the next level. We want to get to, you know, have this bigger notoriety and bigger
Yeah.
fan base and have it be us. And then seeing that, I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah, you have to really just. That has to be like who you are, I think. Yeah.
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 But there's like also a middle range where like you go from being small to starting to get big, but you don't have like the support staff that you need yet because you can't afford that yet. And then
Yeah.
once you can get past that, then I think it gets a little easier because you have that staff supporting you.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to weather that you have to weather that period though in order to, you know, break out. And they had
Definitely.
support. They had management and you know, they had a booking agent and everything like that, but you know, it was still a small team for them at that point. And I still think that they handle pretty much everything on their own. You know, don't take my word for it. I haven't spoken to them in a really long time, but they're always just like really hard working go-getters.
That's cool. That's very cool. I love OK Go.
Yeah.
So what I was going to ask was, since we were talking about horror fans, what is your favorite horror movie?
Oh man.
I know it's a hard one.
On the spot. That's what everybody asks. It is such a hard question.
What is my favorite? I don't know what my favorite.
Or just one of your favorites. Give us one that
Right.
you really love.
I just watched Midsummer. Have you seen that?
Tara loves that movie.
We reviewed it.
We did.
Did you? Yeah.
I
that
love
movie,
Midsummer.
I love Midsummer too. That was a really just crazy film. And it was weird because it wasn't dark in the look of it at all. It was
That's a good
everything
point.
was so bright.
That's a good point.
That is, I feel like that's
It
very
doesn't
different.
follow that trajectory of light to dark in this film. It just because
Yeah.
it is midsummer. It's they're in.
It's midsummer. It's always sunny
It's light.
out.
Yeah,
It's always sunny. Yeah.
and that's a great
And-
point. We
Well,
never,
and
I don't
all the
think-
beautiful colors, the flowers.
I don't think we ever mentioned
Yeah,
that.
the pastoral stuff. Yeah, I don't think we did.
That's a great point.
That's a
point.
very good point.
Yeah, which kind of it throws you because
Sure.
you know
Sure.
when it's so light and beautiful, you're like, wait, is this messed
How
up or
can all
is
these
this
things
like
happening? Right.
yeah, the messages are kind of crossed with that.
Well,
But
it's like-
I really enjoyed that film because I think like the ritual too is really creepy. And just having all these ritualistic things and then you know, just everything is just out there and then the lack of shock, especially when they jump off the cliff and hit their faces
Oh my
on a rock.
goodness, that was
Like
wow.
everyone is
Yeah.
just
Oh, man.
they're all happy and you don't understand why they're
Right.
okay with what's happening until a little bit later and then you're like, oh okay,
not.
that's still messed up. Like
Well,
that's
and-
still
Even
really-
most of the guests don't really react the way you think they do. Like, there's that one couple that like freak out and are like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
no, we're out of here." And like, even our main characters are kind of like, just like blank
Like,
faced.
let them do like their
"What?"
thing. They're doing this this is their world. Like you got to let them do their thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, yeah, and they're coming from such a scientific like
Right.
clinical background, you know, because
Right.
they want to garner this information and so they're just like, oh, okay, well but they end up being the ones that are actually, well, the other ones that freaked out die too. But you know, I
Yeah.
feel like disrupting that humanity, you know, and in a way where you have a lack of humanity is,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, and
really
she's-
messed up.
She's also escaping from this horrible
Right.
reality that's like just as horrifying, kind of as
Yeah.
as
Her
what she
family
goes to.
and her boyfriend. I mean, the two crappy pieces to her life. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean her life
Sucks.
at the end. I'm like, okay, this is the cleansing. She just has to
Yes.
accept it as like the cleansing of
Yes.
the stuff, or everything is so terrible, but no, it's
Right.
probably more of like a cleansing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
stuff was not
it's
meant
one
for
or the
you.
other, and we don't know which, but she makes her decision.
Yeah.
Like, she's just going to
And
go
her
with it.
sister, it seemed like her sister was not really a good part of her life.
Yeah.
You know, from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what else have you got going on? You want to share anything else with us that you're working on?
I would love to share other stuff that I'm working on.
Yeah.
There was a project that I worked on that was just released a couple weeks ago called Ability in Progress. And it is a short film / music video. This musician composer named Kim Plannert, he composed this piece of music, and the director Timon Birkenhofer, they worked together and they came up with this concept of showing 5 individuals who do really incredible things. There's a ballet dancer, there's a rock climber, a motorcyclist, I'm playing drums, and then there's a model. And you see all of us doing our respective activities in really intense, focused, deliberate ways. And then at the end of the piece, you see all of us show the rest of our bodies, and you see that everyone has some sort of visible disability. And the purpose is to show
that's
our
great.
disability doesn't define who we are, and we're
Yeah.
able to go out and
I love that.
function and be a part of society, a contributing member of society.
Yes.
And so we're really pushing that. It's abilityinprogress.org.
Okay.
Some of the most beautiful footage I've ever been in. We got some really incredible lenses that were donated, and Timon is an incredible director. Yeah, I'm really, really proud of that. And then in June, I shot. I'm a surfer. I love surfing. It's probably the one thing I love the most to do in this world. And another producer director got in touch with me who's doing a very similar project. He's doing visual podcasts about people who do things who don't look like they should be doing those things. So he and I traveled up the coast of California, and I surfed in a bunch of different locations, and we also shot me in like some beautiful surroundings and stuff like that. And we did an interview, and I spoke about my life with dwarfism and the messaging that doesn't really serve us in media, because there's a lot of salacious reality TV shows, and people miss the mark, and little people portray elves and leprechauns and monsters, and I don't want to stop doing the monster stuff, but I do want us to have some sort of balance where we are seen as, a patron in a bank, or someone getting coffee, or someone just walking their dog as an actual human, And that's, if I can go back to Twin Peaks, that's one of the most exciting things for me in working with David Lynch is he didn't look at me and say, let's make him this monster without a backstory and just like this crazy looking thing that, is just this scary monster. That was the one show that I wore the least amount of makeup for in my career. And I love that because you could see my face, you could see my body, you saw me running, you saw me doing action, and it wasn't CGI. It was my, whatever movements that I make are smooth and whatever movements that I make are not smooth. You saw all of it, and I really loved that's what was shown. So Tommy Corey is the name of the director, producer, camp chef extraordinaire, and the project that focuses on me and surfing and dwarfism should be out in September sometime. So I'm really excited about that. And his other films, he just did a profile on a wheelchair user that has a degenerative muscle disorder. Another woman who is a whitewater rafting guide. who is bigger than other individuals that you would normally see on the river. A gentleman who happens to have AIDS, who's just loves long distance hiking, and so all these people that really aren't represented in media that really love the outdoors. And so these projects that I'm working on, they're kind of satisfying my soul, because I don't want to just go down as the guy who's played these tropes and caricatures in the shows that I've worked on.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. I love
That's powerful.
The thing you're talking about, showing people doing something and then finding out, oh, this person has a disease, or this person is, too short, or it's like, yeah, well, you saw what they did. What the hell does that matter? Like, why does that need to be something that, well, I don't recognize that, so that means it can't be right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, get over that. That's just so stupid. Yep.
Yeah, and that's, we're trying to, I appreciate that support. Thank you so much. And, we're trying to just spread that message to the people who cast for these jobs and who have a say, and who, have input on the positioning and the messaging for these folks, because it's really important. And this is what I talk about on my podcast, as well as, our the stories of little people with dwarfism are not out there in a light that supports us, and people get put into really difficult and hard to manage situations that can be really hurtful. And so to me, it's just a misunderstanding, and any way that we can kind of change that into an understanding is my goal.
Good.
I like the way you put that, changing the misunderstanding to understanding. That's a really good way to say it.
Yeah,
thank you.
Sometimes that's all it takes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us where people can find you on your podcast. I know you mentioned these two projects. Where can they find you?
So you can find me at Big Deal Pod on Instagram, and you can also listen to my podcast called I'm Kind of a Big Deal, and it's just about everywhere that you would listen to a podcast. So please listen in. You'll hear incredible stories. I interviewed the tiniest stripper in the world. I interviewed the first little person professional. There you go. I interviewed the first little person professional skateboarder, and the last interview that I released was with the first little person to be portrayed as an actual human in a commercial, which just happened less than a year ago. So
seriously, less than a year ago.
Yep. In November, she.
That's appalling.
Yeah, everyone.
It's great that it happened. It's appalling that it took so long.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. She is in an Amazon holiday commercial, and she's not playing an elf, and it blew all of us away. And
good.
So I had her on. She's a trained actress from Toronto, and she's just lovely. And she's getting booked on so many shows at the moment that my head is spinning. It's so cool. And I know the thing that's also so cool about it is I know that whenever she gets booked on something, it's going to be something that serves her and the community. So, not that she can't do anything else, but it's she has a great head on her shoulders and a ton of talent. So. And her name is Alexa, and she got booked on an Amazon commercial.
That's pretty dope.
I mean, that means something. That means something.
Did she talk to Alexa in the commercial?
No, she doesn't even have any lines.
They had an interview.
Yeah, none of the it's all voiceover. None of the characters have lines. None of the visible characters have lines. So it's but her name is Alexa, which is incredible.
That's cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was really fascinating talking to you.
Yeah.
This was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to have been a guest.
Good.
It's been a long time coming. We've planned this 4 months ago.
We planned this a while ago.
It comes quick, man. I tell you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you have another movie that you love, we can always bring you back on to talk about that movie. So we can talk about that offline, but that's a possibility too.
So I'll just dangle the carrot. There is something that that's coming up that I cannot talk about at all. Yeah. That
Look who's so important. Yeah.
All right. Ooh, guys, the
so
suspense.
there is a thing. Yeah. And also huge thanks to Sarah for putting us in touch.
Yes, Sarah of Laughing with Gingers put us in
friend
touch.
Sarah,
Our friends,
Good.
Sarah and Christina at Laughing with
Yeah.
Gingers. We mention them all the time. It's so funny. She just told me she was listening to the podcast the other day, and she was like, "You name checked us," and I was like, "Of course I did."
Of course.
We do it like every other podcast episode.
they're-
We talk about you guys.
We give people credit when it's due.
They're some of the best people ever. I just hung out with them at Podcast Movement about a month ago, and
I know,
had a
I'm
blast.
so jealous. Oh, I
Yeah,
wish we
they're-
could have gone.
That's the first time I met them in person. It was great.
Yeah, they're lovely. Both of them are
Yeah.
awesome. So everybody out there, our 5 listeners, thank you. Please subscribe to the podcast. Rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you're listening so more people can find us. And don't forget, you can send us your movie suggestions and your thoughts on the movies we've watched so far at thescarymovieproject@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Scary Movie Project. Peace out.
Peace out, y'all. Thank you.
The Scary Movie Project podcast is produced by Tara Garwood and Matt Lolich. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.